What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA
Playoffs, Tuesday, May 18th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 2-game slate tonight, NBA playoffs. So let's take a look at the point guard position. At the top here, I'm going to find a way to pay up for this guy. I like Russell Westbrook from the Washington Wizards playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall, and they give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Russell Westbrook has averaged 54.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He scored 56, 69, and 68 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 39, and 39 minutes. So I like this pick because you know you're going to get monster minutes out of Russell Westbrook. He's projected at 57.2 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score over 60 fantasy points and get you 5 times value or more. He is $1,300 FanDuel salary and $600 less on DraftKings, so he's an expensive player, but I think he's worth getting in some of your lineups. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 232.5 points scored in this game, so I like Russell Westbrook here versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, another point guard that I like is Lamelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Lamelo Ball has averaged 35 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He scored 40, 22, and 42 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 20, and 31 minutes. He's projected at 35.6 fantasy points here tonight, which is just about 5 times value. I think he can score 40 fantasy points or more in this one and get you over 5 times value. He's $7,200 FanDuel salary, and he's $900 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game, so I like Lamelo Ball here versus the Indiana Pacers.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Now guys, just as a quick note, we just released a free DFS contest on Draft Dashboard for MLB and NBA for DraftKings and FanDuel. There's over $500 available in the prize pool, and this is a totally free contest you can enter as a Draft Dashboard member. So make sure to click the link in the description of this video, give Draft Dashboard a try, and you can start playing in our free DFS contest and compete to win some money. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Now, I do like Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets because he's only $7,200 FanDuel salary, and he's $500 more on DraftKings, and he's got 50 plus fantasy point upside. He's in a good matchup, projected at 38 fantasy points. That's 5.3 times value. So I do like Terry Rozier if you want to save a little bit of salary. But if you want to spend up at the shooting guard position, take a look at Caris LeVert from the Indiana Pacers playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the 9th worst defense overall, and they give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Caris LeVert has averaged 37.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He scored 28 and 54 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 21 and 38 minutes. So I'm looking at that game that he played 38 minutes and scored 54 fantasy points, and that's what I'm expecting from Caris LeVert here in this game. So he's only projected at 38.9 fantasy points here tonight, but I think that's a little bit low. I really think he can score 50 fantasy points or more here and get you 5 times value or more. He's 9,200 FanDuel salary, and he's 600 less on DraftKings. So I like that DraftKings price. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. So I like Caris LeVert here versus the Charlotte Hornets. Now, if you're looking to save some salary because this slate doesn't have a lot of good value on it, take a look at Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics playing the Washington Wizards. He's only 5,700 FanDuel salary and 100 more on DraftKings, so his salary is reasonable, projected at 28 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's got a fantastic matchup where the Wizards give up the second most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, and we know Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. 232.5 points scored in this game, and Marcus Smart scored 30 and 34 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Wizards, so I think he makes sense as a pick to try to save some salary for the rest of your lineup. So I like Marcus Smart here versus the Washington Wizards. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Evan Fournier from the Boston Celtics playing the Washington Wizards, who have the 4th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Evan Fournier has averaged 28.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. So he's projected at 30.3 fantasy points here tonight. Now on FanDuel, that's only 4.3 times value. So I don't think I'm going to play Evan Fournier on FanDuel, where he's 7,100 FanDuel salary, but he's 1,100 less on DraftKings. So only 6,000 DraftKings salary. That would be 5 times value or more if he can score 30 fantasy points or more. And we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 232.5 points scored in this game. And Evan Fournier scored 22, 23, 32, 28, and 37 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Wizards. So I like Evan Fournier here versus the Washington Wizards.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, another pick to save some salary here. I like Rui Hachimara from the Washington Wizards playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing small forwards, but Rui Hachimara has averaged 24.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He scored 26, 18, and 23 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 34, and 30 minutes. So I like that he's playing around 34 minutes a game, and I think that's what he's going to play here in the playoffs. So you're going to get a ton of minutes out of this player. He's projected at 24.3 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score about 26 fantasy points or more and get you 5 times value or more. He's 5,100 FanDuel salary, and he's 100 less on DraftKings. And he scored 13, 23, and 33 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Celtics. So I like his price point to give your lineup some salary relief and to get some 30 plus fantasy point upside. So I like Rui Hachimara here versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. So I know I've got a lot of picks from this game, but this is my game to stack here. So I like Jayson Tatum from the Boston Celtics playing the Washington Wizards, who have the 4th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Jayson Tatum has averaged 44.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 31% usage rate. He scored 43 and 50 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 26 in 35 minutes. So that game he scored 50 fantasy points in 35 minutes. I'm expecting that to be the case here tonight. So I think he can score 50 fantasy points or more and get you 5 times value or more. He's 10,000 FanDuel salary and he's 200 less on DraftKings. He scored 50 fantasy points in his last game versus the Wizards. So I like Jayson Tatum here versus the Washington Wizards. Okay, moving on to the center position. I'm going to give you another value play, or a value play to mid-range play. I like Cody Zeller from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Cody Zeller has averaged 22 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He scored 18, 26, and 17 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 36, and 17 minutes. He's projected at 25.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5 times value. He's 5,000 FanDuel salary, and he's 300 less on DraftKings. So Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game, and I like this pick because he scored 26, 26, and 36 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Pacers. So I like Cody Zeller here versus the Indiana Pacers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.